Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Saska Dragon.
It's Century 987.
And we're Teamwataponuk UK here.
Yes, we are.
This is a deck profile on my Machina gadgets. So, we get started. We run 3, of course, red gadgets. Now, of course, people are going to say, why am I running 3? Well, I'll tell you why, because sometimes I've opened up with 2 red gadgets in hand, sometimes 2 yellow, and sometimes 2 of the green. And quite frankly, it does not work, and it just basically, you're a scrub. You can't use the gadgets at all, and the whole idea of it is summon them and to use their effects. And if you can't do that, well, the deck doesn't work. So then you run the 3 yellow, which of course then searches out the green gadget.
Skip through yellow, we just don't care.
And of course you've got green gadget, which is the strongest, which then searches out the red gadget.
And it's quite a nice colour green as well. I think it's quite nice.
It is. Right, 2 Cyber Dragon, of course, because you in the side deck. Extra deck, sorry, I'm running things like Chimeric Fortress Dragon and Chimeric Over Dragon. So these 2 do come in handy. You can summon this card, contact Fuses on the field, or in case this goes to the graveyard, you can use Overload Fusion for Chimeric Tech to go for game.
If you do want to contact Fuse, there is a trap card called DNA Searcher, which changes everything up the field onto Machine, so you can steal your opponent's monsters also.
Then of course we run 2 Machina Gear Frame. 3 was too much because I usually drew into what I needed, like the Fortress and the Machina Cannon, so I put it down to 2, which makes it easier because it searches out another Machina card. So this is for like Fortress or Cannon. And of course we have 2 Machina Fortress. Now of course Machina Fortress has 2 effects really. One, if it's targeted, you can literally look at your opponent's hand and discard a card. But if this is destroyed from the field, then basically you get to blow up one of your opponent's monsters. So this card really does come in handy.
Nice piece of equipment there.
And 2 Machina Cannon, obviously just a ditch to the graveyard for Machina Fortress.
The size of his gun.
Or in some cases, if you've got a really bad hand and you've got like multiple gadgets that you cannot use, you just ditch them to the graveyard and then you can summon this guy. So it has 2 multiple uses there. And then of course 2 Cyber Valley. Sometimes you can really have a really bad hand and you need some more draw power. So Cyber Valley literally lets you draw up 1 card and it banishes itself. So 2 is better than 3 because sometimes if your hand gets clogged with 3 of them, these really don't do any good.
Plus also if you move another face up along with it, you can draw 2 cards.
Exactly, and of course just a random Gauze for no reason at all. Just sometimes when you've got absolutely nothing, Gauze just comes in handy. So
yeah, I prefer the secret red Gauze because that just looks terrible.
Well, I like my own artwork Gauze, it just looks sexy.
If you find a bloke in a black skirt sexy, then I should
No,
be
look
worried.
it. No, it's just because of the flames, man. I like she make my artwork look good.
Fair enough.
Scrub. Right. Then we have 2 MSTs. 3, we're just clogging the deck up, you know. Sometimes you don't really want to literally run 3 because if you run too many MSTs, you're just gonna be like, yeah, I don't need it right then, and you can't really do much with it. So 2 is perfectly fine.
It's comfortable as well.
Then it was 3 Pot of Dualities. Sometimes this deck is really slow and you don't do much special summoning quite a lot. So the fact of using Pot of Duality really gets to search your deck for certain cards like the gadgets or the cannons. So these cards really do come in handy.
Depending on how well you shuffle your deck.
Exactly. You don't want to draw 3 of those cards.
Not really.
Then go on to most of the staples. Monster Reborn kind of basically says it for itself, doesn't it, really?
Well, pretty much.
You know, special summon all those decent monsters you need.
Until you find what you're looking for, we'll skip that. We have 1 Book of Moon.
Book of Moon kind of speaks for itself as well, so you don't really need to say much about that. I'm going to that. Oh, then Mind Control.
Yeah,
Mind Control's good.
That. 1 Overload Fusion and all. Add that one.
With Overload Fusion, then basically, you know, you remove from play or from your side of the field, or graveyard, of course, fusion material monsters which are on a dark type machine monster, which of course is things like Over Dragon, which is really busted. So that card really does come in handy, and you get to release summon a boss monster.
And if you're fed up and you just want to kill them, limiter removal.
Yeah, limiter removal is a really good end card. I mean, it doubles all of your face-up monsters' attack. The only downside, okay, they get destroyed, but if you're going for game, you just drop this. Yeah, good game.
Well, not necessarily, because if you use it on something like Chimeric Over Dragon, or rather, say, for example, Cyber End Dragon, limiter removal, and then you can do piercing damage, and before the turn ends, use Diffusion, There you go, the machine's not destroyed, you've got your 3 Cyber Dragons.
Well, there you go, some few more ideas for you people out there. And of course, if your opponent really is being annoying and they've got big beat sticks, you just set this card face down, they attack your monsters, yeah, fine, I activate limit removal, up go your monsters, and you can save yourself for a turn.
And you've played them for a sucker.
And of course, everyone has to run Dark Hole, needless to say any more there. Right, then we go on to your traps. So far, I run 2 Compulse, basically, because they're just good. 2 Bombless, which is good. I probably run these up more probably than Warnings, because you need to keep your life points, because Warnings are good, but paying 2,000 life points sometimes is really not good in this format, because sometimes your opponent can special summon monsters like a bitch, and Warning one of them is not going to do much. If you Bombless it, at least you're not going to do any life points.
And if it's near endgame and you've got low enough life points, you won't be able to use Warning to begin with.
Exactly. Mirror Force, obviously. Torrential,
That's what
obviously.
it says on the tin.
2 D Prisons, needless to say no more. 2 Ultimate Offerings. These really do come in handy sometimes. Okay, most of the time these get MSTable, but when they do start to work, they work perfectly. You know, okay, you have to pay 500 life points, but it's worth it, because as soon as you start swarming with your gadgets, you know, you can really go off.
It's also a small price to pay for an extra summon.
Exactly. And then 2 Call the Haunted as well. And of course, yes, there is another torrential here that I forgot to show you, my bad.
Because you're a moron.
So there's 2 torrentials instead of 1. Because I need the freaking deck to get right. Then of course we go on to the extra deck. Right. We have number 32 Shark Drake. Most of the time you can really bring this card up. Okay, it's a Sea Serpent, and it requires 3 level 4 monsters. Not a lot of people are going to ask me, why do I want to bring this card into the extra deck? Well, because its effect is brilliant. It says once per turn, when this card has attacked and destroyed your opponent's monster by battle, you can then detach one of its underlay units to bring that card back, and it loses 1,000 attack points. Then you get to attack it again. So really, this card is boss in this deck. I mean, okay, it's annoying you can only use it once per turn, but this card rules. And of course, you've got number 39 Utopia. Of course, just stable in every extra deck nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Gemini Pearl, just because it's a 2/6 beat stick, which is a rank 4, with no effect, so which is good as well. And you've got Big Eye. Number 11, Big Eye. Okay, Big Eye is a really brilliant card in this deck because it uses 2 Machina Fortresses, and bringing 2 Machina Fortresses to the field is perfectly easy. Now, of course, Big Eye is a brilliant card because it requires 2 level 7s, of course. It says once per turn you can detach 1 XE material from this card to target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of that monster. That monster cannot attack this turn. You activate its effect. So really, you can use it for another overlay, or you can tribute that card off. So it really is good.
Sounds good to me.
Then, just as a tech card, Maestro of the Symphony to Jin, just because it's cool. Then, you know, number 39 Utopia 8, just in case when you've got Utopia and it's got no underlay units, they want to blow it up, you go into this guy. If you've got low life points, use this effect, you know, it could be a good game. And of course, everyone knows what Chimera Tech Over Dragon does. He just uses 1 Cyber Dragon and as many
machines that you like.
Exactly, and it's a dark, which goes exactly well with Overload Fusion, and this really can beat all your monsters down. So it's a really good card.
With enough attack points.
And of course, it's a bigger brother, which is Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which then brings into play, of course, Contact Fusion. So this card really does come in handy. If you've got loads of fusions on your field, you summon a Cyber Dragon, you know, you haven't got a big enough beat stick, bring out this guy, then you've got a big beat stick up the field.
And you can probably use Overload Fusion on that as well, in case both your Cyber Dragons have bitten the dust.
Exactly, so there are many, many different plays. So, I hope you enjoyed that. Please rate, subscribe, and of course, please tell me what you would change in the deck. And
But any feedback is good feedback.
yes, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yes,
so
we
it's
will.
Mr. Tusker Dragon
Saying True Zone 987.
signing out. And remember, only real men use Watapon.
If you didn't do your